Yeah. Let's go. Major Tom to ground control. We're in Huntsville at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. How you doing? Gypsy J here with you. And I had an exciting, fun weekend. And I've went off with an exciting, fun dude right there, Marcello. And we went to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center located in Huntsville, Alabama. Had a blast, man. I will tell you one thing. When you go to a museum, and especially a place like this, the one thing you're going to end up doing, whether you wanted to or not, is learning. Yeah, you thought you knew all kinds of stuff about space and American space program until you find out things like this right here, the Pathfinder. That was a test shuttle. They're putting it together right now. You'll be able to check that out in the near future when you go there. I don't know if you'll be able to just walk around or actually walk through it. But regardless, it'll be there and available to check out, along with all this other stuff that they have walking the pathway in the door. You haven't even made it in yet. You haven't even given them your $30, which, by the way, it's only up $5 since the last time I went there, which was like 5 years ago. So I'm going to say that's very reasonable, but they have all this cool stuff outside. Then you get indoors, and then you get this little map right here, and that was my only complaint. Marcello and I, we got lost over and over again, not really knowing where we were going, but the people who worked there were really friendly, and all you had to do is say, "Excuse me, I don't know where I'm going," and they're like, "This way, let me take you guys this way." And that's what they did. So we had a really good time. The exhibits start off kind of slow, you know, some of the models and stuff. You go down some cool hallways, and then you see this thing here, and they're talking about pop culture and how NASA and the space race influenced modern pop culture for, you know, even back then in the 60s all the way through today. And you can see it when we go around the corner here in just a moment. We're going to look into this room, and it's got all kinds of models and toys and TV shows running and different things that showed how the space race influenced our culture. Everything from Star Wars to Star Trek. A show I really love was Babylon 5, Lost in Space, you name it. They've got all kinds of stuff there from those shows. And once again, they're showing how NASA and the space race influenced pop culture. Interesting, don't you believe? I do. And then I thought this was really cool. They had the screen running with some stuff from the 50s and the 60s, once again on the space race. And then here are some astronauts and engineers posing for different pictures from some of your favorite movies and whatnot. You know, being very silly. That was kind of funny. But here they have all the toys and all the different things that were influenced by the space race, by NASA over the years. I wanted some of these toys. I think I had some of these toys when I was a kid. That's the fun part. Danger, danger. Right? And then I thought it was really neat because you'll see on this television screen in just a moment, they're going to show you the astronauts. Some people thought it was for the MTV commercial, but actually long before the MTV commercial with the astronauts, you know, taking the step on the moon, it was for Tang. The drink that they still sell today, the drink of astronauts, was Tang, orange-flavored water. There you go. So it was really cool kind of going through here and seeing the different models. Once again, hey, look, Star Wars. Hey, was that a B-wing or whatever wing? I don't know. But anyway, it was really cool to kind of see all that stuff. And then when you head out of there, you're going to start heading into more of the exhibits. So we have over here the different suits. Here we have a logbook, some drawings. And once again, you can always freeze the video to try and read some of this stuff. I didn't take pictures of every single little thing because it would have been just too much at this point. But you got these suits and who wore them, what they were for specifically. You know, not all were just for space. Some of the stuff that they have on display was also for training purposes. Once again, you'll be in one of those heavy-duty or pressurized tanks full of water where they simulate weightlessness. So those suits could have been in there. Here we have different models of the different delivery systems for shuttles and, you know, other things, and our crews going up to the International Space Station these days. So having the videos running, that was real neat. I really enjoyed that. It gives a little bit more life to the displays. Here's some futuristic stuff where we have different spacesuits, including robots. They're talking about having these different robots going to be doing different things in the future. And of course, you know, we knew that was coming. And then here we are looking at different delivery systems, different rockets, different systems. I just thought it was kind of cool. Walk around, you know, take some pictures. They had these different engines around, and I see a lot of them have been signed, autographed, so I'm going to assume that was the crew that put it together. Had something to do with it. And then this is future stuff right here, something that's a much smaller, which I believe is what they got flying around the Earth now, you know, a little shuttle thing going on. Here's the different country flags that they had throughout the place. Everybody's involved with the NASA program. Here's our futuristic stuff, or things that may even be used now. We're looking at the Hubble telescope. They had some pictures and they had different things from there. That was really interesting to see, you know, some of the pictures that they've taken. And these are different people that helped with donate money to different missions that NASA's done over the years. And then once again, here's some truly cool interstellar pictures and so forth of our galaxy and beyond. I love this stuff. I don't know about you, but I love it. I get mesmerized. So I tried not to fixate on it for too long, but seeing the different outer planets there, of course, but the different photographs that we have here. And then this one here, which is just, what is that? Just galaxy after galaxy. This was some cool room that we passed through on our way into this area. This was just absolutely awesome to hear these guys and what they had to say. This was the theater where they had some footage running, and they had footage running through the entire place.
Here we are, 180,000 miles from the Earth. We're moving along at 10,000 miles an hour. And I had the opportunity to go outside the spacecraft to retrieve some film cassettes. And I'll tell you, if you ever want to be a spaceman, that's the time. When you're out there in that vacuum of space, the only thing between you and that vacuum is your spacesuit.
We have one more big thing, re-entry into the atmosphere, and that's another one of those things you have no choice to make except to do it. You're falling like a bathtub. And then at 10,000 feet, I believe it was, or thereabouts, we deploy the parachutes. If you didn't see those parachutes blossoming out in front of you, it would be a very good day.
Telling you, there's just too much to learn when you go here. It's not just cool to look at, but you'll find out about all the different systems. Just start looking and go, hey, what's this? And oh, what's that? Water reclamation, you know, water, how they're going to reprocess water, urine filters and so forth. They even have some sort of fart fan because you don't want it to get funky in there. All the different types of systems you would never think about, but they have to think about because they're in space. You can't just chuck it out the window. And I think this was a really good sign to see. I think this is a very important one to keep you and all your friends alive in space. Now, while we were there, they actually had a space camp going on. If you have any idea what space camp is, it seems to be a lot of kids from junior middle school through high school. They come out and they learn to be astronauts. You know, they learn about the systems. They learn about how things are done. They're put through different paces. This right here is a treadmill that they use on the International Space Station for the astronauts to stay healthy. Once again, staying healthy. I like the fact that they have the videos running everywhere and different people talking about how life is on the space station, how different systems work on the space station. This lady here was very interesting. They had her on several different. Once again, I was talking about a fart fan. Well, it's an odor filter. Here they are advertising for the space camp. So once again, there was areas we couldn't go into because at the time, they've got, as you can see here, Space Camp mission in progress. They got trainees and everything, but we did get to see certain things like that right there. That's mission control. So you get to see what's going on, and they're simulating mission control. As we walked around, the one lady we're about to meet coming up right around this corner was very helpful. And explaining what we're going to look at, because right over here we have this tank, as you'll see to your right of the screen. In this tank is where they would do the pressurized test. Everybody gets in their suits and they float around as if they're in space, learning how to operate and do things in their suits. So when they go to space, they're not complete rookies on it, but it's a tank full of water, and that's what they use right there. I thought it was cool.
Well, I would love to know what's going on in this area.
This is a marvelous area. This is our MCC floor, our Mission Center Complex floor. And this is where we have all of our different simulators, like for the shuttles, Discovery Shuttle.
Oh.
We have the Kibo and the Zarya components that are for the International Space Station.
Okay.
The simulators
Oh, wow.
for that. Yes. And then we have our Mars mission, our Elysium.
Oh, is that what that dome is over there?
Yes, that is the Elysium base there, and then the Uranus station for the Mars mission, and then the capsule and the lander, and of course our mission control rooms.
Are these basically the same materials what they would use on Mars?
Very similar. Very similar.
Of course, they're going to tweak it just before they go or whatever,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
And we don't have quite as many functions, you know, the panels, the buttons and switches.
The extra $1 billion, right?
Yes. But actually, some of our simulators, especially I know down in Endeavor in Astro Track, that little dome outside there, we have some more simulators over there. NASA actually used some of that to train real astronauts years ago.
Okay.
And so they loaned them to us so that we could train space campers.
Excellent. We got space campers here today, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have a mission starting this afternoon, and we're training them this morning through lunchtime.
Excellent.
They'll be here, they'll get started probably around 11:15-ish.
Okay, because I saw some people I thought earlier,
Yes.
but okay.
Advanced Academy teams.
All right, excellent. Well,
They're going to be doing a bit of what we call an extended mission. Is that the Advanced Academy does. So they'll be a little bit longer than the typical hour that your camp and academy kids.
So the space camp you've seen in movies and stuff, this is this place right here?
It is.
That's
It
right.
is based
Okay,
on
so we're at the
that,
world
yes.
famous space camp. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Oh, have a
So
wonderful
once
time.
again, that was incredible. She was very helpful. I hope you learned something from that, because I sure did. I thought it was really neat how you could see the different modules and the different designs and what they're thinking about for other planets, because you know sooner or later we're going to go there. We can't help ourselves. We're going to go there. But here we are outside. Thought this was real neat, of course, with all the rockets on display and, different weapon systems they have up here. The only disappointing part, and I understand it, was they're doing some renovations, so they had a fence up so you couldn't get close to everything. But they did have cool things like this right here, which is one of those deals that pins you to so you can feel some gravity. This is included with your ticket. We used to call those the Hurl-A-Whirls. And they also have one of those rocket chairs that you sit in and it goes up a pole and then drops you down. And they had one other thing, I forget what it was, but they had a few rides that are included. This is really neat. Here is a representation or whatever of the moon landing and all the stuff that they have built around this. Some of these rockets you can actually see when you're going down the interstate. Because this is right off the interstate. So it's real neat. Here's the different helicopters and once again, rockets or delivery systems, whatever you want to call them. I thought this was real neat to go take a look inside. And once again, how much you do not know. You think you know, I understand, NASA and stuff. Yeah, we don't know nothing. These people are such geniuses. You go take a look, and this is technology that's forever old right here, these helicopters and stuff. And once again, here's the cool rockets that are lifting shuttles and other things into space. Not including, of course, but here you go. These are your rockets and missiles of war and so forth. And then there was the old Skylab that was cool because that one burned up and gone. Now we have the International Space Station, and one day they'll burn that sucker up in the atmosphere and it'll be gone, and they'll put something new up there. But here is your Skylab from the 70s. There was just so much to look at and so many pictures to take that I just sort of gave up after a while because there's so much more coming, including we're about to go take a look at the Saturn V rocket, which was incredible and what was a real learning experience for me because I really didn't understand or know about all that stuff. We all know that at the end of World War II that a lot of German scientists end up coming to America, but I never really thought about it. Well, as you're about to learn, and as I learned, Werner von Braun was one of these scientists, and his brother rode this bicycle down the hillsides looking for the Americans to turn themselves in because right before the fall of Germany, they could see it coming, and they stashed away all of these papers and these documents and technology. And then when the Americans came, because they knew that's who they were going to give it to, they weren't going to go off with the Russians. They said, no way. The Americans came, they gave it all over to the Americans, and really that helped and really accelerated the American space program. Because without these scientists, we may not have gotten where we would get there eventually, but probably not as quickly as we did. So once again, a lot of people gave America flack for taking these scientists, but did they really have a choice? Are scientists really evil? You know, they're building something and someone puts a gun to your head and says, well, build it or I kill you and your family. You know, these are things for historians to argue about, but that's the way I look at it sometimes. I don't think everybody was evil, but nonetheless, they came to America, and everything that you can see in this room right here, this is your Saturn V rocket, which is 364 feet long. I walked that sucker. It's a 3-stage rocket. So you can see where it breaks down, and this is what has taken a lot of stuff into space for many a years. Here's the different rockets that they have for it, engine boosters, whatever you want to call them. This was really cool, by the way.
It has been decided to test all 5 together, 2 months ahead of schedule. A failure during this test could end our hopes of getting to the moon by the end of this decade.
Attention all personnel. Attention all personnel. Clear the test stand area. Clear the test stand area.
Looks like the test conductor, Robert Sadler, has checked with his guys on their console to confirm all systems are go. We are about to witness history in the making.
Automatic countdown sequence at start. T-minus 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition.
Once again, what an incredible thing to see is actual video and the transmissions, and they give you a real feel there of those engines kicking in and how they were testing them. And I like that. It's very interactive when you go to this museum. They have a lot of people who work there walking around who answer questions. Unfortunately, when I went there, once again, with the space camp going on and it happened to be lunchtime, there weren't as many people around, and that's okay. Now, this right here was as big as my leg, and 8 of those bolts and nuts hold the shuttle in place while it's being moved out to the launch pad. Those bolts were so huge, it blew my mind. And these are some of your engines right here. This is all kinds of stuff off of the shuttle. They just have so many cool little pieces here and there, things you don't think about, and just so much history. And you can't help but learn, and I get excited about this stuff. I'm a bit of a geek, and I enjoyed going there. I enjoyed learning, and I'm just blown away by the entire thing. The displays were so great that taking these pictures and video just don't really give it the justice, do it the justice that it deserves. I'd say, if you've got kids, this was Huntsville, Alabama. I don't know. I know there's other space centers across America. Check them out. They've all got bits of history in there, and they can, not only are they going to teach you, but they're fun and entertaining while they teach you. You walk around, and if you really start paying attention to what's there in front of you, what the film clips are, and what they're saying, it's mind-boggling sometimes. And then to look at these rockets weren't made last week. These rockets are 50, 60 years old. From the 70s, from the 60s, from the freaking 40s, okay? And these rockets were in service for a very long time. So just think about the incredible genius, the intellect of these people, not just the Americans, but the Germans, but all the scientists, period, around the world who come up with these things. You've got to have a big brain, man. And that big brain's got to hurt sometimes when I think a scientist comes up with something and it's for peace, it's for great. But yet it's used for war, and that unfortunately will happen. But nonetheless, look at all of this interesting stuff that you don't even think about. The quarantine bun over here. I thought it looked like a large hot dog bun, but it's an Airstream travel trailer. And this is the one that they used when they would come back from space and they were quarantined. And they have the history of it out here. They have all kinds of interesting stuff telling you about why they were, of course, quarantined, how long they were quarantined for. And then they have some tape running inside of the actual astronauts. They were talking about each other and how, thank goodness, they liked each other, because it made it a lot more bearable to be stuck in there for as long as they were. Now, I stayed in an Airstream travel trailer for a while I was going to college, and it's okay. They're not the biggest, and you've got, 4 astronauts all staying in there, and the only contact you're having with the outside world is through partitioned glass and people in suits. I thought that was interesting. Right there you see a little Burger King thing. Burger King donated money to the museum once again to restore some of this stuff. There's a lot of corporate sponsors involved with museums. Scrabble in a dining area. Marcello, my friend. There we are. I had walked him to death. We ended up being at the Space and Rocket Center over 3.5 hours. I was like, a couple hours tops, we'll be out of there. Nope, 3.5 hours. And to be honest with you, I could have been there longer. Walking around once again, checking out all the different simulators and all the different actual things that have been to the moon, been into space, trained our astronauts. Some of this stuff is so old that it's older than my mother. Oh, sorry, Mom. But it's just really, it was such a learning experience to be there, to walk around. You can, like I said, there's a lot of stuff. There's people getting in there. You can see how small some of these capsules are. You cannot be 6'5" and thinking you're going to outer space, especially back there in the 60s. Come on, let's face it. If you're 6 foot plus, you're just not going to be able to get around in those small capsules. They were not made for a large person. Once again, they had a lot of cool stuff laid out for you to look at. That's been used. We have food. I have a picture coming up. You'll see what the food looked like. It was not very appetizing. Scrambled eggs and bacon and so forth in these little packets that were kind of, probably make you hurl the first time you think about eating them. Here we are inside. Once again, this is another,
With the Aluminum Company of America, moved to Huntsville to help the Marshall team figure out how to weld the new aluminum alloy. She was one of the first women to work there as an engineer.
And when the space program came into being, I guess I got hooked. And I applied and was accepted at Marshall Space Flight Center, which of course where I wanted to go, because that's where they were involved in the actual manufacture of hardware.
New construction began. New test stands grew into the skies.
a symbol of the dynamic space program.
It definitely wasn't just men. As you can see, men, women, everybody got us to the moon. Everybody helped develop the U.S. space program. NASA is got a lot of men, women from everywhere. You know, if you've got it, you can come in here and you can help us build it. Wasn't that just the coolest thing to see this moon rock here, number one? I thought it was also neat to see the capsule that had come back with the burned holes in the bottom of it. Here's the food I was talking about. Not what we would say appetizing at all. This was some of the cool displays that they had set up throughout the place. Once again, you'll notice I'm constantly walking under this rocket. Being 364 feet long and separated so you could see the different stages. It made for quite the walk, actually. It's quite a workout there. Now, there was one last area we're going to check out, and that was right outside here. And this is the rocket that everybody can see from the interstate when you're in Huntsville. And they have some nice picnic tables and a nice cool area to hang out underneath the rocket. As you can see, it's a big one. I think they really did a nice job overall. I think you get your money's worth when you go to the Space and Rocket Museum located in Huntsville, Alabama. You're going to get your money's worth. Honest to God. I mean, you're going to walk around there. The kids are going to be tired. You're going to be tired. But your brain's going to be tired from learning so much, and you're going to want to learn more. And you can always learn more by checking out their website. Was it nasa.gov? But, there's just so much to learn. History is all around us, my friends. That's what I have learned just by driving around the country. I'm like, oh, that's historical marker, or this place, or that, or here we go, the Space and Science Museum, packed full of artifacts from space. We've got a moon rock. We've got scientists. It's just everything is so cool there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, a like, share it with your friends. I'm doing the best I can on the channel. I'd like to see someone say something, type a little something down in there. Tell me you like it, don't like it, what you want me to do. Anything like that, I appreciate it. And I try to get around to any requests as soon as possible. I am Gypsy J. Life is an adventure, my friends. Get out there and have that adventure. Until next time, a toodaloo and to space and beyond.